Hello and welcome everybody once and all. What the fuck am I talking about? Welcome to the latest edition of the WHO Bulletin. I'm back and apparently really small on your guys' screens. That's really strange. Move you up a bit there. Welcome back, everyone. It's literally been a week. No change there. I've been on holiday since literally the last stream until this stream. So that's really funny. It feels like I've just bookended my lovely break with a live stream. And today we've got a really exciting live stream today because we're going to be doing talking about the new Doctor Who trailer, which has just come out. And by just, I mean multiple days ago. Last Friday, I believe. We'll be talking about that very shortly. Talking about the new trailer, breaking it down, and seeing everything that you might have missed in it. Probably not, because everyone's already talked about it, but we're going to break it down anyway. So, yeah, let's do that. But first of all, welcome to our lovely people joining in the stream. Dr. Master, Liam Hickey, Mr. Scarlo, Paul Malley, Mark Fernkamp, DCS Media, and anyone else. Feel free to drop it in the chat. I went to Lanzarote on holiday, and it was nice. It was nice. Bad weather, but nice. And no pork pies today, unfortunately, my friends. Just a very tired, exhausted George ready to talk about Doctor Who. So, first of all, the trailer itself. I fucking love the trailer. I love the trailer. I think it's great. Of course, a little bit misleading with the title being like reaction, but obviously I'm a doctor. Look, I follow Doctor Who. Of course, I've seen the trailer. I can't not have seen the trailer. We're not going to react and break down the boring UK Doctor Who one. We're going to react to... Shit, that's very loud. The US Disney Plus trailer that doesn't have the Disney Plus logo for some reason, just like frozen out at the end with the music still playing. So that's the plan for today. Meanwhile, I'm wondering what's going on with the hell with my TV, but that's fine. We'll just ignore that for now, I think. Yes, we're here. Adam Hassel, Donut Devil, welcome to the stream as well. We're going to be talking about the Doctor Who trailer. Let's just crack on with it, I reckon. We are streaming a little bit earlier today than usual. That's just because I'm at home and I've got a bit of free time, and I thought we'd crack on with that. And as per, we'll do the Who Bulletin over here, and then we'll be going live on Twitch playing more Batman Arkham City. Maybe for the last time? Not sure yet, depending on how much progress we make. But today, that will be the plan. So if you are planning on sticking around, that'll be lovely. But we are going to be heading over to Twitch after talking about this lovely, wonderful Doctor Who trailer. Welcome also to the Donut Devil and Adam Hassel, if I haven't already mentioned that. Might have done, might not have done. Anyway, let's react to the trailer. Or not react, I should say. Let's break down the trailer. I think Ruby's going to have a butterfly motif. She's some butterfly-type species that twice in the trailer. One with Ruby stepping on it. Two, the music notes wrapped around her in a butterfly formation. That's interesting, but we'll get to that. So the first shot, I've already got a lot to say about. Yeah. Here we go. We've got the unit tower, and I've got a lot to talk about this already. So the unit tower is great. But what I love is the TARDIS coming in here, right? Something I've always talked about with Doctor Who that I loved for years was The Runaway Bride. An episode in which the TARDIS comes into battle, comes into action almost, and it's wonderful. I'm going to move myself up here as well, just because that looks a bit odd. I love seeing the TARDIS fly around on screen. I love seeing the TARDIS do things and have like interactions and sort of fly around. It gives it this sort of very modern kind of film TV aesthetic where obviously they wouldn't have had the budget to do that back in the classic Who, but now we can have the TARDIS spinning around and flying around, and it looks brilliant. It looks perfect. And here we have that. The TARDIS crashing, landing, flying straight into Unit HQ. Is it kind of like a shot that like we've never really seen before in Who? I mean, we see a few things of the TARDIS floating, but this is a proper action shot, proper action cam style, shaky cam stuff there. That is going to be a gorgeous sequence, and I really can't wait for it. It's the unit headquarters from, of course, the Giggle, which we previously just saw them in. We knew this was going to come back. We knew Unit was going to come back. Any little missing things we can see here? Well, we can see Lenny Rush here on the right, one of the new actors announced for the series, as well as Rose Noble herself on the side. Also interesting as well that there's a white panel on the door next to the police telephone public call box. thing, pull to open tab, there's a sort of white line there on the TARDIS. It's either a bit of stained wood or for some, I'm not sure what that could possibly be. Let's see if it has it on the landing here. No, it doesn't. So this is either one of two things. Either this is a mistake. Either a bit of wood flies off in the landing, or this is a very poor little mistake here that they've just kind of left in this sort of white bit of wood on the side of the box. So that's interesting. Maybe something of note. Maybe an accident. We don't know. Lots of unit staff members in there. Lots of different costumes we can see. And yeah, we can play through that. The Doctor and Ruby opening the door. Presumably in Unit HQ. It looks like Unit HQ. The background on either side does kind of match that aesthetic. So we're kind of assuming it is. In the same sequence. Let's just read a few comments quickly before we continue. Just want to say I'm loving Nostalgia Bit, by the way. Thank you, DCS Media. For those who don't know what Nostalgia Bit is, that's mine and Cooper's podcast that we have a new episode coming out every single Thursday. We're loving it so far. Very happy with the reception, but if you do want to check it out, really, really appreciate it. It is linked in the description below over on Spotify and other podcast streaming networks. Mark Furkamp said, I had a sausage gravy pot pie for breakfast today. Quite delicious. Definitely counts as pot pie. Love that. I love that I'm inspiring these things. POV, what Doctor Who fans imagine when they're spinning and chuckling and chucking their spin and fly TARDISes around their room. Yeah, very true. As a kid, I used to have the spin and fly thing. I used to do that all the time. It's that scene from The Runaway Bride for me. It's always that scene. After seeing the trailer, is there an episode you're most excited for? I'll talk about that towards the end when we sort of like go through. And there's lots of different episodes in here. And I'm very excited to see all of that. So let's kind of talk about that. But yeah, again, opening the door here, and there is no white panel on the TARDIS thing, so I'm assuming in the previous shot it's a mistake. Also something of note, which I know not a lot of people have seemed to have mentioned so far, is that the TARDIS here is facing towards the left of the screen here, as opposed to out in front of the whole of unit. But when the Doctor opens the door, it seems to be symmetrical on the back there, with them facing out towards the room. That's interesting. I wonder if that is intentional or, again, another mistake, like the white line there on the box. We've got Shooty in a new costume here, leather jacket, white t-shirt, 2 necklaces. Love that look. It's great. We see Ruby in the background. New series graphic of the TARDIS. Looks very nice. Then we have the TARDIS sitting upon a hilltop. We don't know exactly where this is. There's been a few suggestions, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the TARDIS shot later on. Have you ever considered branching out and spreading a Scotch egg on stream? Not yet, my friend. Not yet, but I might well do. We've got some flashbacks to the Church on Ruby Road here. No, nothing new. Just the shots of her spilling the gin. The Doctor's picking it up. Then we have another sort of shot of seeing probably the beginning of that sequence with the TARDIS flying towards Unit HQ. This looks great. Again, love to see it. It works incredibly well. Yeah. Love that sort of thing. We've got a shot here of Ruby's mum and grandma kind of reacting to what's going on here, which is a TARDIS materializing in the house of Ruby Sunday, in the home of Ruby Sunday, and clearly breaking into the roof because it's slightly too tall, which is a bit ungrateful. That's the second time we've seen their roof destroyed. We then get another flashback shot to the church on Ruby Road, where the Ruby's seeing the TARDIS, entering the TARDIS, opening her eyes, and then walking in a little bit and seeing the Doctor. That's all from Church on Ruby Road. That shot there is from Church on Ruby Road, as is this. But then we get a few quick cut ones. So then we've got this one, which is from episode 2, The Devil's Cord, I believe, based in the 60s. Unique look for the Doctor and Ruby. TARDIS in the background, dark room. Not seen this before. Very interesting. We've got Shooty dressed as some sort of monk type figure, which is very interesting. Doesn't seem to match any of the episodes I've seen so far. But we'll keep talking about it. This shot, which has been, oh my god, this shot has been talked about so much. There's so much to break down about this. So there's a lot of theories going around with this one. This is the Regency episode with Jonathan Groff, who is in that. I don't think Jonathan Groff is in this trailer, which is interesting. He was in the previous trailer, but he's the one who's highly anticipated. He was a sort of Regency type character, but had a sort of spacey laser gun, big blue coat. A lot of people were seeing connections there to Captain Jack Harkness, or him being just a time agent. Either way, this is the same episode and likely to be Shuji's doctor being intimidated or whatever by Jonathan Groff's character, whoever that may be. But what we do see is obviously David Tennant's face here. That's taken from, I believe, Series 4, maybe the specials when the show was in HD quality. Waters of Mars, likely, I think. And in the background, we can see what looks like a sort of spaceship. So we know this is from that Regency episode, obviously because of Shooty's get-up. And then we've got the sort of spaceship background. And in the background here, you can also see a hammock. So a lot of people are suggesting a similar vibe to that of Captain Jack's ship from Series 1. A lot of people talking about the idea that Jonathan Groff's character could actually be a younger version of Captain Jack Harkness. So, don't know how I feel about that. I don't really think we need to do that. But I'm down because I'm not a big fan of John Barrowman. I don't like the way he's went on in the previous years, and obviously the set behavior is notorious at this point. I think it'd be a bad decision. But using that character again, recasting him with a very good American actor, someone who has a musical theatre background, who's been in Hamilton, who is very well known and has been in big high profile films, like the recent Matrix film, of course, and a series on Netflix that I can't quite remember. He's a great choice and a great option to play a time agent or something like that anyway. If he ends up being a young version of Captain Jack, that's cool to me as well. I don't necessarily want it, but yeah. And before I continue with that as well, I know a lot of people have talked about this whole thing of, typical relying on Tennant for views. I think this is very much a whole thing of this time agent is either specifically looking for this incarnation, or that's all he knows of the Doctor. Or it's one of those scenes that we see multiple heads of the Doctors sort of floating around, being like, is this the same person? We've had those scenes before. The Next Doctor, we've had it in the Husbands of Riversong, we've had it in the 11th Hour, where we see all the different faces of the Doctor. We see that quite a lot in Doctor Who. It's just kind of a nice little reminder to go, remember all these other faces the Doctor has been at some point, and it's probably that. And they're probably using Tennant because he's in recent memory for things. Mindhunter, thank you, Donut Devil, that's a really great shout. We have this shot here of Shooty clicking his fingers. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this was in the church on Ruby Road, which means this was probably right at the beginning of episode 1, which I'm very excited to see. And then we've got the TARDIS disappearing with Mrs. Flood in the background. This is again from the church on Ruby Road, if you weren't aware. Again, tinsel on the left-hand side of the screen. That is from that Christmas special. It is a reused shot. We have a new shot of Ruby in the TARDIS talking to the Doctor. And in that scene, the Doctor is wearing his jacket from the end of Church on Ruby Road. Ruby is wearing her outfit from the Church on Ruby Road. So this is obviously from episode 1, right at the beginning, where we see them talking for the first time. Then we get a shot of the Doctor pulling down a lever on the TARDIS. Great little shot of some Gallifreyan symbol there that we hadn't seen before. Jukebox in the background, blue lighting. And we can see from the costume, it is the exercise outfit, we're going to call it. We'll come back to the exercise outfits, but I don't know whether we're going to get some sort of carrot juice style scene, but it seems there is one where the Doctor and Ruby are exercising for some reason, or are wearing exercise gear, and you can see this because there's a sort of whistle round Shooty's neck here. That comes up in a later shot, and we'll get back to that. Cool little transition there. This is from episode 1. You can tell by the outfit. This is the first time Ruby sets off in the TARDIS. Ruby stood there in her same costume as well. And then we got this shot, which I think is also episode 1, because you can see by the coat that Shooty's wearing and the skirt that Millie's wearing that it's the same, I think, episode. And it sort of seems to be like the colours are changing depending on where they're going. They obviously went from blue to purple there, so that could also make sense. Ooh, speaking of jukebox, what kind of songs would you like to see played in the episodes? I'd like to see some reminiscent ones. I'd like to see some Britney Spears, Toxic, like we had in End of the World. I'd like to have some Scissor Sisters a little bit, maybe. I'd love to hear some Beatles tunes. I always said this as well. We're obviously getting a Beatles episode as episode 2 of the series. I would love to have some actual Beatles music in there. I really hope they manage to afford to be able to license 1 or 2 Beatles songs. I think it would just sell it a lot more than not having any Beatles music in a Beatles episode. It would be quite strange. And beyond that, it would be nice to see if the score for the soundtrack for the actual episode as well is inspired by Beatles orchestra style, sort of George Martin instrumental. I'd love to see that, and I really think that would make a really nice sort of part of that episode, really understanding the musical impression the Beatles have had on culture and utilising that within the soundtrack of that episode. So hopefully Murray Gold has his finger on the pulse there. We've got a shot here which basically cuts into the title sequence of Doctor Who, the new series. Nothing particularly new there. And then I think we cut to... Yeah, so this is the dinosaur shot, which is great. Now, a lot of people have talked about the colour grading on this. It is worth noting that this is a compressed version, and the colour looks a lot better on Disney Plus if you're watching on there, or when it's played at 4K resolution. So it will look a lot crispier and a lot nicer and a lot more colourful when it actually comes out. But this is great. I love this. The CGI budget is just, like, going well here. I love to see this landscape kind of thing here. It's just hard to tell really exactly what this is, whether it's supposed to be something or another. But yeah, we got mountainous regions. We've got pterodactyls flying away. We've got a stegosaurus here, multiple stegosauruses down here as well. It's very typical. They're standing on a ledge here and then a big CGI landscape. But I think it really works and I really like it. And again, we can see the volcano in the background here as well. Wonder if that's anything to do with the extinction of the dinosaurs that we're going to end up seeing. Not really sure, but pretty cool. See another pterodactyl in the background there. This is obviously episode 1 once again. So my presumption is the order of events we're going to get is the opening pre-titles sequence for episode 1 will start with the beginning of Ruby entering the TARDIS for the first time, as we saw at the end of the Christmas special, and then being like, okay, I want to go to, can I see the dinosaurs? And that's the first thing they do. They stop off here, and then we start the episode. So we see this whole opening gag with Shooty, the butterfly, the whole thing, Ruby standing on a butterfly, and then turning into this sort of alien creature. Obviously a joke. Obviously, like, I saw a few people going like, oh, I hope this isn't serious. No, this is like a one-off little joke, and it works really well, and I like it. It kind of makes it like a little bit Silurian-y, which is kind of fun. And obviously he's got Shooty's shocked face there as well, which also looks great. We've got this next shot, which is interesting. It's oh, hang on. So this shot here isn't from the title sequence. This is the TARDIS traveling in the time vortex. It's the only one I think that's used that isn't actually from the title sequence of the show. You can tell because of the colorization on the vortex and the box, and also the fact that this is just new footage that we haven't seen before. Whereas the shot following is from the title sequence, continuing where we left off in the previous shot, cutting forward a little bit again. And then this shot here, also from the title sequence. So it's clear to see that the CGI shots of the TARDIS and the Vortex are taking inspiration from the title sequence, but not copying it exactly. The box is darker and more realistic in the CGI shots than it is in the title sequence, which, as you can see, kind of leaves it with like a lighter blue touch and very bright orange windows, which we don't see as much when it's actually in flight in the time vortex. Here we see the TARDIS again spinning, approaching a ship. Oh my god, though, I just love it. Like, look how incredible that CGI looks. Not just with the ship, not just with the landscape, not just with the thing, but the way the TARDIS spins and reflects against the light of a nearby sun. Just that little tiny details like that, which really just set it apart and make it look incredible. The movement in that shot is great, and I absolutely adore it. I think it looks brilliant. So, yeah, absolutely love it. I don't know what episode this is for. This could be for episode 1, because we know that is based on a spaceship, but then that's just a really out there guess. I don't know what episode this is part of. We don't really know any major details, which I love about this trailer. This is again going back to the sort of gym sort of workout vibe. So here's a closer look. You can see they're both sort of wearing army style trousers and then sort of workout top. He's got a whistle round his neck and holding a sonic screwdriver, which interestingly is a different colour. We've got a sort of yellow look of the sonic screwdriver. We haven't seen that look yet. We've only seen the blue, I believe. There might be other versions and variations, but I just don't recall them quite yet. And in this scene as well, we see them in some sort of school hall, town hall or something, some sort of official building. There's a heavy sort of fire exit signs in the background there. Maybe it's a hotel of sorts. Ruby's looking in some sort of mirror here, by the looks of it, or some sort of screen. And of course, the elephant in the room is that it is snowing in this room of some kind. That seems to be some sort of plot point, again, tying back to Ruby being left at the church. We're seeing snow here, we're seeing snow there. We also see snow elsewhere in the trailer. So it's just something of note to keep an eye on, that I would say. But yeah, it's snowing in that scene. Then we've got the Regency episode, and we've got it might be the Regency episode. I think it is the Regency episode. It looks to be. And they have 3 people shape-shifting into these sort of bird alien-like characters. This is giving me sort of vibes of Series 2. We had the sort of the cat nurses on New Earth. But this is sort of the same sort of thing. An evolved species of bird, which, yeah, looks kind of cool. Obviously some sort of shape-shifty vibe there, which is interesting. Love to see that. This is also from the Regency episode. We have them mentioning Bridgerton, a little fun reference there. And then we have them all dancing. We can see, I believe that's the same woman who just turned into a bird previously. And I'm trying to work out if Jonathan Groff is in this shot. Doesn't look like it. Now, someone will have to remind me who this is again, because I remember everyone freaked out about this, and I actually didn't know who this was. I'm going to have to remind myself. Is it June Hudson, I think? Yes, so this is June Hudson who is in this. She is a costume designer for Doctor Who, and is in a bunch of stuff as well. She used to costume design for Doctor Who, I believe. Let me just double check. I might be wrong in that respect, actually. Costume designer for 32 episodes of Doctor Who, for the Ribos Operation, Destiny of the Daleks, Creature from the Pit, Horns of Nymon, Leisure Hive, Meglos, Warrior's Gate, Logopolis, and that's that. And she's also, I believe, an actor in a few things more recently in modern years. I don't know why everyone freaked out about this. I'm surprised people knew who this was. I haven't really seen her before, but maybe there was something else. Okay. Oh, the season 18 outfit for Tom Baker. So that's why she's sort of legendarily known. Excellent. That's kind of cool. But yeah, she cameos in here and seemingly is being attacked by Jinx Monsoon. But we don't really know for sure. We can kind of assume that that's the case because we've got a sort of nice little old lady house here. Very typical vibes. And then in the background here, we can also see a picture frame, 2 little lights here. Jinx Monsoon looking very interesting in this shot. Seemingly attacking the old lady. But we've got these lovely, obvious CGI music notes behind her, which is interesting. And I'm not sure about this choice. I think it looks a teeny tiny bit clunky, to be honest. But I don't mind it also. It kind of works. And if it works in the context of the episode, then I'll be happy. It looks a little bit too obviously CGI because it's so unrealistic. But I'm here for it. It looks nice. It looks good. As does Jinx Monsoon. Very excited to see her character in The Devil's Code. So obviously this is episode 2, I believe. So yeah, keep an eye on that. See you later, Liam. Thanks for joining. The next shot is of, I believe, episode 3. It could be completely wrong. Whatever episode this is believed to be the Stephen Moffat episode. We can see Ncuti Gatwa in the background there. And he is standing on a landmine, which we saw a little bit of in the first trailer. And it was always rumoured that Stephen Moffat will be writing this episode where he does stand on a landmine. Maybe history is evolving around the Doctor and Ruby, and he has to stay on this landmine until something happens. We see Ruby firing a gun, which is very unusual for the Doctor to be letting their companion fire a gun, especially this early on, laying down the rules. So it'll be interesting to see the context of that. That wasn't just something that was implemented by Chibnall or something recently. This has always been a thing, especially in recent years, but particularly from the beginning of Russell T Davies's era, that sort of dislike for guns and weapons. So it's interesting to see Ruby using one here. In the background, we also see 2 more characters. One person who's crouched over here, and another person who's sort of moving. And then also, whatever the fuck that is, it's hard to sort of see on this screen here, but if you look on the actual trailer, it looks like someone who's glowing, like a sort of Force Ghost Star Wars vibe. The only weapon we can see being shot here is Ruby's twice. And we've got a sort of spinning blue light on the top of this machine in front of Shooty, which could be indicating anything. It's a little bit TARDIS-like, so I kind of like that. But I'm not sure what this glowing person in the background is here. Either way, this is believed to be Stephen Moffat's episode, which may well be episode 3. We don't know for sure yet, but that's the current going rumour. This next shot here, we've got some sort of mysterious spaceship or centre or something like that. Welcome, Valerie. Hope you're having a good evening so far. Or afternoon or day or whatever. Ruby's here in her episode 1 outfit, which would lead me to believe this is episode 1. Also see a little bit of Shooty's costume on the side here. Hard to see on the live stream, but again, if you look in the actual trailer, and it does have that sort of grey striped top vibe, which again would lead me to believe this is taken from episode 1. So I'm excited to see what the context of that is, because it's a bit confusing currently. Then we have this shot, which seems to be from the Beatles episode again, The Devil's Chord, episode 2, with some sort of creature inside a drum. I think this is just some sort of effect. It's rumoured that Jinx Monsoon's character is, well, obviously he has these sort of flying music notes, so it's very clearly some sort of higher celestial character. The Toymaker talked about the Toymaker's legions coming to get the Doctor, and I think Jinx Monsoon is the first look at that. The series seems to be going more in a supernatural direction, more in a sort of fantastical direction, and I'm very interested about that. And I think this is one of those instances where it's a villain who is very over the top and a bit camp, but it's like the Toymaker is bound by rules, this sort of godlike character where the Toymaker is bound by the rules of the game. Maybe Jinx Monsoon's character is bound by, like, the music, bound by musical whatever. So yeah, making someone appear inside a drum is interesting. I wonder if that's a real person or whether that's some sort of spectre or vision or something. But yes, very interesting. We have a person from a university here with the slug monster coming past. We know that from filming. This was filmed at a university campus, and these big slug monsters were also seen at this university campus alongside this actor here. We don't know much more about that. We believe it's going to be the political Albion-focused episode, but we don't know much about that too yet. We still haven't seen that character, despite him being announced well in advance of filming. So that's very interesting. We also have a shot at night here in front of, I don't know, but it looks like a Weatherspoons. But some sort of old English pub, nighttime, some sort of mysterious figure. You know, something I never noticed there until now is this lamppost kind of feels like it's dematerializing. Don't want to start putting the conspiracy theory hat on, but I've just kind of noticed that now. I knew that something was happening with it, but I never really considered the effect to be that we have this street lamp, old-fashioned street lamp, a very strong blue light, like our current TARDIS, for example, and then we see the street lamp itself sort of appearing and disappearing in a sort of materializing, dematerializing kind of way, with some sort of glitching in there as well. In the screen, we can see it sort of wobbles a little bit there. So the whole screen being tinted blue would suggest this is something more supernatural. But if I'm being really conspiracy theory here, not saying anything for sure, but kind of pushing it on you guys a little bit, is this to me seems like a bright blue light on something dematerializing. Is it another TARDIS? It's not for me to answer, but it could be. It's very interesting. Another TARDIS that has the chameleon circuit fixed, that would be very interesting. Yes. Looks almost like the church area as well. Might be something like that. That's a very good point. And then we've got something smashing here. I'm not quite sure who's on the cover of that. Looks like Rick Astley, but I know it's probably not. Something like that. But it's a magazine. And then we've got the mirror behind it. It says Heart Tens. No, Threatens Finland. Something threatens Finland. So it's obviously some stuff, EMI tape there. So there's obviously part of the recording studio in episode 2, The Devil's Court. We can see a bit of food and stuff lying around, but there's obviously in the recording studio at Abbey Road. And then we have a glass smashing, which is obviously something again to do with music and threatening and all that sort of thing. Something to do with Jinx Monsoon's character maybe. Then we have a really interesting shot. We have what looks like going back to the church, and we see the lights in the background, and we see a character in a hood, potentially Ruby's parent of some sort, pointing at someone. Maybe it's the Doctor, maybe it's Ruby. I would presume maybe the Doctor. I feel like the Doctor is going to keep revisiting this church and going back and seeing more details maybe, but we will have to wait and see. Again, a lot of people talking Meddling Monk could be something that they're doing, but I'm not too sure. Very interesting. Got Meddling Monk, an existing Time Lord who likes to meddle with history and time. That could very well tie into that. We've got Shooty and Millie here from episode 1. Same costumes as episode 1, some sort of spaceship, and we have our first named monster, I believe, of the series, which is called the Bogeyman, I believe, like a really traditional Bogeyman. This was shown very, very briefly in the Russell T Davies documentary, which came out a little while ago. It looks horrendous, really horrible design, but scary in a cool way. So I'm kind of excited about that. Hopefully they'll go a little bit lenient into the horror aspect of this, whilst also being a little bit lighthearted. That'll be quite fun. Then we've got a really cool shot here of almost a Marvel level shot here, which is really great to see. Cars being abandoned, massive smoke cloud in the middle of London, people running away. Very cool to see. Very excited about that. Then we've got what seemingly some sort of unit area here. Unclear as to what this room is, but it doesn't look like the main one. We have a few characters on this shot. We have obviously the Doctor, we have Lenny Rush's character, we have Rose, and we have Kate Stewart there as well. We also have maybe Ruby behind him there, and then someone else standing behind him still. Now there's sort of a red, so I think there's obviously someone blonde there, looks like it could be Ruby, Doctor, Rose, Lenny Rush's character, Kate Stewart, and then someone else in a red blazer, which if we skip forward a little bit, I believe is, we are skipping forward a tiny bit here, that looks to be Mel. So she's wearing a red blazer there and the same jacket. Well, that's not technically Mel, is it? That's definitely a stunt double, as is that with Shooty, but still works. Same leather jacket, same red jacket from Mel there as well. So I think all the characters that are coming into whatever this massive vault is, again, Kate Stewart, Rose, Lenny Rush's character, which someone says is called Morris. We've got the Doctor, Ruby, and Mel. So a lot of characters here, big ensemble. What room are they entering? I'm not too sure. I would propose, given that unit have relocated a few times, this could potentially be the Black Archive, potentially, but we're not too sure. Some sort of other unit facility in that tower. It's not the same room. We haven't seen this door before. The big vaulted area, which make it seem something high profile, so that's interesting. We have got shots of planets covered in dust, covered in sand, left to rot maybe. Maybe this is dealing with the aftermath of the flux. Who knows? I'm not entirely sure, but this looks pretty good. It could also be the Earth and the Moon in some sort of alternate future. We've seen a few shots that we haven't quite covered yet as a lot of alternate future versions of themselves. That's also quite interesting. Let's have a look at that. We've got the Doctor screaming into the void. Great little shot there. Really nice looking thing. Yeah, looks incredible. Looks really incredible. Wonder what the context is there. Again, he's wearing those two necklaces, the leather jacket and the jeans from the unit episode. So the unit episode seems to be, I think, the finale. We're going to have maybe a two-part finale, episode 7 and episode 8. Episode 7, they're going to return to unit, the TARDIS flying into the unit tower. We're seeing a lot from that. The bike chase, this sort of screaming into the void thing. Then we can see the clock tower from the church on Ruby Road. A very mysterious shot of, I can't remember what these things are called, but it is something in music, and you can touch them to water and they have that sort of effect. So again, would lead me to believe it's from the Devil's Cord, the second episode. We've then got the Devil's Cord here again, with the Doctor pulling something off of the TARDIS, and it sort of exploding or doing something, which is interesting again. Again, from the Devil's Cord, we have Ruby in her Devil's Cord outfit from episode 2, and then a sort of destroyed London. Could this be the future of Earth if the Beatles had never existed, or something like that? Or something to do with Jinx Monsoon's character in a sort of higher godlike regard? Who knows? We then have a shot, very brief shot, from the potentially Stephen Moffat episode with the mine. Tuning fork, thank you, Mr. Scarlo, that's spot on. Of someone who seems to be materializing here. We see a big sort of laser in the sky, and then it sort of comes down, and we see the mine as seen before, with someone standing on it, with that energy still there. So I wonder what that's about. Not sure if that looks like shooty or not, it's too hard to tell. But it seems to be some sort of battleground, some sort of war zone, which is quite interesting. So, love that. We go back to that London shot again as well. We've got the Doctor and Ruby, again from the Devil's Cord, standing there looking at what could have been. Ruby's clearly crying, really visibly quite upset, and the Doctor is very stoic. So very interesting to see what that is going to be about. A shot back here of Ruby and her mum. Is this from the Christmas special? I think this might be from the Christmas special. I can't remember the specific shot, obviously, but she is wearing her outfit from the church on Ruby Road. There's also Christmas decorations in the background, and she's also holding the Polaroid from that episode, so I presume that's not a new shot. This, however, is a new shot. Ruby is being sort of tangled up in music notes of some sort. So she seems a little bit vacant, like she's not actually there. This is obviously something to do with Jinx Monsoon, obviously something to do with the Devil's Cord episode, Beatles episode. A lot of people have a few theories on where this is going to go. A lot of people think that she is going to have to play her own character theme on piano, a little bit of something meta there. That would be really interesting. But yeah, not sure how that's going to be played into it, but the music episode has me very excited to what they're going to do with that. A shot of Carla Sunday and the Doctor at a dining table there. This is an episode we haven't really seen anything of. We haven't seen this outfit on the Doctor quite yet. So this is another new outfit. Very interesting to see which one that's going to be from. But he's promising he'll look after Ruby. Terrible thing for the Doctor to promise, of course. And we have, again, from the Devil's Cord, something with the Doctor lighting up the room. They seem to be in some sort of cellar or basement or something. Really hard to tell from this shot why they are, but maybe it's underneath the sound stages at Abbey Road. I'm not sure what the layout of those facilities are, so it's hard to kind of comment on that. And then we have a few different shots of Ruby, which are interesting. So this one is notable, and we'll come back to this one. This looks to be on the hilltop where the TARDIS is being left to rot. So that's also an interesting point. And then we've got a figure in the background watching over Ruby as she sits by the TARDIS. Now, I have a theory. I have a feeling this may be something to do with the finale. And I'm hoping that this will be something to do with that, in a sense where maybe it's like a parallel universe thing. Maybe something happens and the Doctor is screaming into the void, and what he's screaming at is actually Earth, that we saw, those destroyed planets. His version of Earth in that universe maybe is completely destroyed and vacant, and then Ruby is left with this TARDIS which is dying. That's a theory I have. Another theory is, of course, that there's something else going on here. But if Ruby's sitting outside the TARDIS, I don't think it belongs to the 14th Doctor or David Tennant. I don't think that character's even going to get much of a mention, never mind doing something with his TARDIS and his character. But we have Ruby sitting there, and then her at some sort of bar, different costume, same necklace though. Interesting. I don't know if this necklace appears in other episodes. Doesn't seem to, which would mean it's either it's just from the same era, or it is something directly connected to the plot. This necklace is very interesting, and it appears again here. She seems to be having toast. There's a breakdown for you. Some sort of little English pub, similar to the one that we saw with the shot of the streetlight. and then her here with glasses and a glass of Prosecco on someone's sofa, perhaps. We don't know quite for sure where that takes place. I'm not really sure at all where that would take place, but it is there. Different length of hair as well. Is her hair longer in that? I'm trying to work out. I think it might be just. And then we've also got a shot from the Devil's Court. No, not Devil's Court. The Regency episode. Ruby smacking someone around the head with a book. Then a reused shot from the church on Ruby. Oh, sorry, missed a shot there. Whoop. Then we got the shot from the Devil's Court of the recording studio. Some sort of cannonball type thing coming through the window here. Also notice the sonic screwdriver, which is plugged into the deck here as well. Another little minor detail you might have just missed. A reused shot here from the church on Ruby Road, from the Goblin ship. Another shot of Ruby here with snow. Another interesting plot development, which I'm just kind of keen to see what this is all about. But a lot of falling snow. Looks like she's wearing that same necklace again, potentially. Different outfit that we've seen before, so can't really comment on that. This looks like it could be from the Stephen Moffat sort of episode with the landmine. This is Ruby seeming to adventure out onto an alien world. Looks beautiful. The background is gorgeous. We've got these ships sort of flying in the background, scanning the area, maybe dousing it with sand or something like that. But again, God, the cinematography looks good. This is some of the best stuff I've ever seen from Doctor Who. Like, the actual shots look incredible. The landscapes and the scale of what they can do with the stories now is so interesting. And I'm so excited to see what they're going to come with. We've then got a shot of the TARDIS heading towards Earth. As you can see, it's kind of obscuring the UK and France here. And what it looks like is a big sort of smoke cloud, which is similar to what we saw from the finale. So I'm assuming it's something to do with that. I have a feeling, again, going back, sorry to retread old ground here, but the shot of London with the smoke coming down, that I haven't seen in a hot second. Oh dear, George, stop losing the things. There is a shot with the smoke coming down somewhere in London. Come on, Josh, you're better than this. We had it before. It was earlier on. I missed it. Yeah, I'm not too sure. But the shot in London with the smoke coming through, it looked sort of like debris smoke. Nothing really of note, just sort of something exploding, something coming down, something intimidating. But then obviously we see the shots of the planets here. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, there we go. So we see that immediately after as well? No, we do. So sort of, right. So we've got the streets of Earth being flooded by what looks like this sort of dark brown, sandy kind of storm here, which obviously could be something to do with just an explosion or some sort of attack. But I think it's something specifically to do with this cloud of smoke. I think that's an important plot element. So keep an eye on that, and then refer back to that when we look at these planets here, which are covered in this sort of smoky texture. We see the Doctor screaming into the void, potentially at what's happened to Earth in this time. And then we come back to the shot we were just talking about. Not this one. This one, where we see the TARDIS flying towards Earth, and we see a massive smoke cloud over the UK and some of France. So that's interesting as well. Wonder what that's going to be related to. But we see the TARDIS spinning towards it. Again, beautiful shot. TARDIS CGI looks brilliant. And then we see the Doctor and Mel riding through central London. Now, another interesting detail, which may have well been overlooked, but I saw someone point this out on Twitter. I can't remember who said it, so I'm sorry if I can't credit you, but it's a great observation. The number plate on this is WT75QWK. Now, the second two digits of a number plate equate to a sort of year code, and 75 actually equates to a specific time period where this could have been dealt out as an actual vehicle. and registered as a number plate. And that is September 2025 to February 2026, which is interesting. So maybe this is based a few years ahead of our own, which would make sense for Rose's age being Donna's daughter. That would make sense. Let's see if we can see it in any of the other vehicles. We can't really. But with that being 7.5, it would imply that this license plate was actually supplied after September 2025 at the very, very earliest, which would place this at least a year in the future, at least a year and a half in the future of when it's airing. So that's interesting. Wonder if that's a key point or whether it's just sort of a minor thing, but it's obviously not a real number plate. We've got a lot to break down in this shot here. The TARDIS which looks like it's being scanned in the unit HQ room. We've got something going on here. All stations code red. Something is going on. Maybe, again, this would imply it's sort of the finale. And we have S-Triad technology announcement. Susan Triad, played by the same woman we saw in Wild Blue Yonder as the sort of servant to Isaac Newton, and of course as well played the woman in the bar in the church on Ruby Road. We saw this icon poster. We saw this in the background of one of the behind the scenes videos, and it does have that same character on it. I believe played by Susan Twist, her name is. So we've got S-Triad technology announcement. S-Triad is an anagram of TARDIS, TARDIS. So that's interesting. A lot of people then taking that and running with it. Could Susan Twist's character be a TARDIS in real life? A real person as a TARDIS, similar to how we saw in Series 6. Maybe, who knows, I'm not sure. But this S-Triad technology announcement seems to come alongside a code red, but that being up there seems like it would be important, and that character also seems relatively important, so we'll keep an eye on that. A shot of both of them from episode 1. Millie looks quite excited as Ruby there, whereas Shooty looks very emotionless behind the eyes in this. Wonder if he's been taken over by something or is logging into something. She seems excited and not scared, which she would be if he was being sort of possessed by something in episode 1. Perfect match cut to outside the church again. Not sure if that's a shot from Church on Ruby Road or whether that's a new one. We do know he's going to go back there. Another shot from the Christmas special. Here we go again from the finale by the looks of it. The Doctor is wearing the same leather jacket outfit from the finale episodes, or the unit episodes, the ones on Earth, the ones with the motorbike, the ones where he's screaming into the void. Ruby is wearing the same outfit as the other room point from this trailer. There is a shot of Ruby when she walks through in the snow. Let's find that again. This one here, she's wearing this sort of outfit, this jacket and the black undershirt. She is wearing that in this coming shot as well. So that's something worthy and of note, I'd say. Very interesting looking spaceship style room. Not sure what that is about, but we'll have another one of those in a minute to talk about. And then we've got something, again on that ship. We've got the hammock in the background, Shooty in his Regency wear, with what looks like a sonic screwdriver in hand. It looks red from this angle. It's got like a sort of red thing to it, so that's interesting. Could be another device that might not be a sonic. It looks slightly different proportions. We've also got Shooty doing a sort of captain sort of sign off there outside of the house in the Regency episode. Again, a common greeting between the Doctor and Captain Jack Harkness that we've seen many a time before. Could be important, not too sure. We see that again. Then we see sort of what looks like a musical number. Can't wait for that. Inside of Abbey Road Studios, a lot of girls dressed in 60s outfits dancing in the rain. We then see those same people in this sort of room here with the Doctor jamming out to something. So maybe the Doctor is using some 60s sing-along pizzazz to defeat the villain that is Jinx Monsoon. So I'm very excited to see how that's going to come about. Or maybe they're all just watching the Beatles together. Who knows? We've got Shooty again in the leather jacket. and he says everything is possible in this shot. Cool. Not sure where this is. Hard to kind of tell, but seems like he's in that same outfit again. Then we got this shot which everyone's talking about. This is the one from earlier in the trailer, same sort of area, and it's also the one that looks like what Ruby is sitting outside of, what she's sat and looking at. The TARDIS seems to have sort of dried up here, and as you can see, is sort of overgrown plants all over it, which I think is a gorgeous, gorgeous shot. Notably, though, we actually have grouped up flowers here that are tied up together, laid at the bottom, which would imply that people are actually paying their respects to something, like a gravestone or something like that. People are actually coming and leaving their own flowers outside of there. That isn't naturally grown. There's paper around there, there's a band around that, there's a bowl around that. So these are flowers that have been left by people. Flowers that some of which have actually rotted over time themselves. So it seems that whatever the case here is, it's been a long time since the Doctor might have died or something along those lines. So that's very interesting, again, as a plot point to look at. And then we have another shot there of Ruby in this mysterious room. Same jacket, same scene, with Ruby and the Doctor dancing in that snow. Maybe these machines have something to do with that snow. Maybe these machines have some sort of bearing over Ruby's life. Maybe that is something to do with the church. Maybe it's something to do with her being dropped off. Or maybe it's a completely irrational assumption to make. But that's my theory so far. Kate Stewart, of course, turning around in unit headquarters. Really cool stuff. She's got an earpiece in by the looks of it. Mel and the Doctor on the moped. Great shot. The Doctor looking at the camera and winking. And of course, our beautiful Doctor Who logo there. Very, very exciting stuff indeed. Love it. So that's the whole trailer. That's everything. That's everything I could see, that I could sort of pick out and spot. And I have to say, I love it. I think it's really, really great, and I'm super excited to see what comes of this series. As far as I'm concerned, we see maybe 3 or 4 episodes in this. We see obviously the episode 1 in terms of costumes. We're going by episode 1, episode 2, the Devil's Cord, episode 3, maybe the War Zone and the Mine. Episode 4, let's just say that's the Regency episode. That's 4 episodes we know about, and then the last 2, 7 and 8. We know are probably going to be a 2-parter, knowing Russell's track record so far and the tendency to do big stories as a finale for the series. That's the moped, the sand attack, all that sort of stuff. Susan Triad, if it's her name is, sorry, maybe not Susan Triad, S Triad, presumably it's something that begins with an S, but Susan Twist's character as Mrs. Triad. What she's going to have to do with things, what Mrs. Flood is going to be doing with things, who knows indeed. I don't know, but I'm very interested to see where this goes. I can't deny I'm super excited. I'm really, really, really excited for this. I don't think I've been this excited for Doctor Who in a while. I don't think I've been this optimistic about Doctor Who for a while. Trying to keep my expectations in check. Obviously, I said last week I'm not a big fan of the air date changes, but again, we'll come around to it. There's still a lot we haven't seen yet. There's still not much story being given. And I also think that, by the way, this is a brilliant trailer. The music choice, using David Bowie's Changes as the backing for it, I think is perfect for Doctor Who. And I also think as well that there's just something really just charming and brilliant about the way this has been edited. You can tell there's a lot of budget, not just behind the series, but also the people who are making the trailers. They're slipping in shots from the church on Ruby Road to sort of fill it out a little bit. But it's not overbearing. You don't get a sense of spoilers here. I don't know exactly what's going on. I know that there's a new TARDIS team. They're going on adventures. They're seeing things. They're doing things. And as a fan, I'm trying to break stuff down, but I'm not pulling much from it. There's nothing too familiar here. No returning monsters as of yet, which I think is a really cool thing. We might end up seeing the Daleks or something at some point, or some sort of random returning monster. But I'm very excited either way to see what that is. Who knows? But obviously do let me know what your thoughts are about this ahead of next week. I don't know if we'll do a Who Bulletin next week. It depends if there's news. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But yeah, I do want to say thank you obviously all for joining today. We're not quite finished yet, but before I do wrap up, I did want to sort of mention exactly what goes on these Tuesday night streams. We usually stream here first over on YouTube, followed by a stream over on Twitch where we play some video games. That's going to happen tonight, about 8 o'clock-ish, maybe a few minutes before, since we finished talking about the trailer early. We'll be going over to twitch.tv/gbsheard, which I'll play in the chat now, We usually go and play video games over on there. Today we're playing Batman Arkham City, having a bit of fun with that. It's going to be a very relaxed one tonight because I am quite tired and I'm just going to piss about and do whatever I fancy. But yeah, we should be back here next week, hopefully with another Who Bulletin, followed by another Twitch stream. So if you want to continue watching stuff, asking questions about Doctor Who, any theories, please do drop over there and check that out. And as you can see on screen here, I probably should have my WhatsApp open, should I? But yeah, as you can see here, I've got a podcast as well, which has a new episode every single Thursday. We've got a new one coming this Thursday about something I'm very passionate about and very excited to talk about. So keep an eye on that. But we have 6 episodes out so far, and I would absolutely love it if you guys could check it out. I'm going to put a link to that in the chat as well. Would really, really appreciate the support. There are new videos here on YouTube as well. If you haven't already noticed, we do have... oh God, no, let's not. Oh God, that's weird. No, don't do that. What am I doing? We do have a little, obviously new episodes will go live here on the main channel, but actually we do have a little podcast file over on YouTube as well where you can go and watch all of the previous episodes, go and listen to all the previous episodes. It's also available on Spotify. But yeah, we'd really, really appreciate it if you check that out because we've been working really hard at it and we're really, really proud of it. And it's brand new content every Thursday as well as Tuesday. So there's more content for you guys to chow down on. And yeah, we'll be back very soon with some more Doctor Who stuff over on YouTube. I am working on some edits, but obviously I've been on holiday, so I've made no progress of that in the last week. But I'm aiming to have some more Doctor Who themed content out soon on this channel, so keep an eye out for that as well. But in the meantime, yes, we're going to be going over to Twitch around about a few minutes from now, but I will be taking your questions in the meantime, chatting to you guys about Doctor Who. So let's talk about what you guys have been talking about here that I've completely missed whilst I've been reading out those last few things. Mr. Scarlett says, when TCORR was being filmed, I'm not sure. The church on Ruby Road, perfect. Mel Gibson was seen at the church, maybe filming in advance for the finale. Interesting. Triad also means a group of 3, so there could be multiple enemies in the finale. That would be cool as well. Maybe we have a triad of this sort of mysterious who is this person kind of character, played by, of course, Susan Twist, and then we have maybe some other returning monster alongside some sort of Time Lord character. Maybe everything's coming together. What if Ruby was created to test the Doctor? Potentially. We don't know. Do you think that supernatural line from Kate is from the finale or the Albion episode, since she's also in that one? Interesting. I honestly don't know. I completely forgot about the Albion episode as well. That's another one to think about, isn't it? We've basically got all episodes accounted for, really, in this series. We've got, obviously, episode 1, which is the spaceship and the bogeyman and the introduction to the show, the dinosaurs and all that sort of thing. Episode 2, the Devil's Core, which is the Beatles one, the 60s, the music-themed one, celestial kind of vibes. And then the rest of the episodes, we've got a 3rd episode, which is about the Doctor standing on a mine, possibly the Stephen Moffat episode. The Regency episode, with the people turning into birds, and the time agent type character. We've also got the slug kind of episode thing with the Albion stuff as well, which is super interesting. Actually, that's 5 episodes. And then a potential 2-parter with Triad, Susan Twist, the Sand stuff, and all of the unit stuff. The only thing that's missing now is one further episode, which we don't know anything about, maybe, or unless I'm just not thinking straight. But yeah, Any sort of further questions before we sort of wrap up this stream? Happy to answer them. Please do let me know. But yeah, very exciting trailer. I loved it. I think it's a really, really great trailer, and I'm excited to see more from the Disney promotion stuff. I know a lot of people have a lot of distaste towards Disney Plus and Doctor Who's little collaboration, but I think it's brilliant. And the only thing I don't like is the air times and how that affects things. But in all honesty, I think it's a great idea and a great collaboration. And I'm very excited to see what Disney bring to the table with all of it, to be honest. I think it's a really, really exciting time for Doctor Who. It's going to boost the brand massively. It's going to push a lot of that sort of stuff it's going to make it feel bigger and better than it has done before. It's going to give Russell more opportunities to tell bigger stories, which he wasn't able to do in his own era way back when. Yeah, I'm just super excited, to be honest, to see what's going to happen and what's going to come out of it. But yeah, fingers crossed it'll be one of the best seasons of Doctor Who ever. Fingers crossed. What do you want to get out of season 14? I want something new and refreshing. I want something that I can recommend to people. I want something that I can go, look, Doctor Who's good now, watch it. If you've never seen it before, this is the one to start with. That would be really cool. Adam Hass says, do you think the flashbacks in the trailer link to an alternate universe? Maybe. If Ruby never met the Doctor. I'm not sure. It could, possibly. I really don't know 100% what they're trying to do with that, but it's interesting. It's interesting, potentially. I think the flashbacks are just flashbacks. I think they're trailer filler to not give away too much of the actual episodes that we're going to see. Just kind of keep us entertained, keep us, excited. What do you think about the AI being used for the advertising? Oh yeah, that's been complained about, hasn't it, and stopped being used. AI is an interesting one that I'm not going to get into because I have very mixed feelings when it comes to AI. I think ethically there's levels of it which are wrong, but I think AI is very much an umbrella term which equates to a lot of things, and some of those things aren't unethical, so it's worth considering that. However, it did seem that they were using AI for subscriber emails to quality check things or just to write these things. And to be honest, if people can't be asked to write articles properly when they're emailing them out to people who are fans, fans are going to stop reading them. If you can't even be asked to write them with a human, then it's just, pointless, really. But there are other uses for AI and that are ethical and aren't just lazy and cut out people's jobs like that would be, for example. So I'd be very interested to see what else they sort of use it for and if it's ever used in the show, which I hope it's not. I hope they show it altogether, to be honest. But AI is a form, also, machine learning is a form of AI in a certain sense. It just depends on your perspective, and machine learning's been around for years and all that sort of thing. So it depends on how they use it. But using AI to write emails and articles for your website, if you're the BBC, you can afford to have someone do that and make it actually good and not just shit. So, yeah. Do you think the Slug and the Albion episodes could be separate, potentially? I'm not sure. They were filming around the same time, so they could have just been sort of double-barreling it, or it is related. It'd be kind of cool to have Slugs as some sort of slugs in disguise as big political sort of alien-type things. Something in the UK, something about UK politics. There is something in that, and Russell kind of did that a little bit with the Slovene two-parter in Series 1 way back when. So I'm kind of hoping we'll get something similar out of that, a little bit of political commentary alongside a cool, fun, alien political story. But yeah, that is pretty much that for this stream. Thanks all for your questions. If you have further questions or want to keep talking about Doctor Who, you're more than welcome to. We're going to be going live right now on twitch.tv/GBSheard as we play a little bit more Batman Arkham City. But if you do have any questions, any things about the trailers, anything like that, anything about what I'm up to, Doctor Who stuff, YouTube channel stuff, podcast stuff, any questions towards me at all, you can bring them over to the live stream over on Twitch very shortly and ask me over on there. But yeah, thanks all so much for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Hopefully next Tuesday. See you later.